Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. In Aiden's episode on sock farming, he said that he recorded in his closet on a pile of laundry, so I'm going to one-up that by recording it in my washing machine while it's doing my laundry. Now, don't worry, it's perfectly safe. Michael's waterproof, my clothes are waterproof, and I'm waterproof. I've got some nice Tide Pods going just to make sure that everything is sparkly clean. I can just taste the sanitation, and I feel cleaner already. This is a bit uncomfortable though, and my script is already dissolved. I guess that was the one thing that wasn't waterproof in here. So I'm going to do a quick jump cut. Two more updates before we begin. One, instead of being the time I recorded at, the big number at the top of the slide is now the number of which podcast you're looking at to help more at a glance in the thumbnail. Another thing, Aiden has introduced background music in his podcast, which I thought really set the tone well, so I'm going to be playing my favorite song, which happens to be very topical this time around. Without further ado, Playgrounds. Actually, because there's only one, this is a playground, and the proper plural is either playsground or playground-I, but over the ages, playgrounds has become the most accepted word. Take a look at this playground. We see, of course, the slides, ladders, and monkey bars in the back, as well as a puppet show booth to help foster creativity, storytelling, and literacy. On the ground, we see wood chips. There is a game known as wood chips, wherein one child must close his eyes and try to tag people, but if he hears any of them on the wood chips, he's allowed to shout wood chips and get them out. While on the wood chips himself, his eyesight is restored, so he may plan his attack on the blinding fortress where the other participants cower. The safety of playgrounds has often been called into question. Are wood chips sufficient to protect young children from such falls? Is it alright for kids to run around on the equipment with their eyes shut? Like nearly everything else it tries its hand in, the most safe playgrounds are found within the Soviet Union, as you probably already guessed from the background music. Here we see a Russian playground designed during the Cold War, which is why I said that the Soviet Union has the safest playgrounds, and not Russia. Now only Russian children get injured on them, and they don't count because that's like saying that an American who choked on a taco was murdered by Mexicans. So it's just sort of two different things. Here are the actual numbers for playground injuries. As you can plainly see, the US has more than 200,000 injuries annually due to playground equipment. And this is only for children 14 and under, and only for emergency room-worthy injuries, not counting all the bumps and scrapes, which may as well number in the millions. Russia, on the other hand, has data-expunged injuries per year. While the black bar may seem longer, keep in mind that the word 5 is that in Russian, so that number is probably like 3 or something. This lower number of injuries can be attributed to Russian children focusing on emotional danger rather than physical danger. The closest equivalent to the American wood chips game is that word on the left, which is a game where a child will have to climb up the policeman statue and stare at its face for as long as they can without running away crying. This specific statue is known as the German's police officer because the longest time anyone has been able to stare at it without crying has been approximately as long as Hitler went without making a poor military decision, which was 9.56 seconds. While this game may scar children for life, it doesn't count as a playground injury because they don't need to go to the ER or anything. This has been Russia's strategy of boasting of its power and safety for decades. Take this ride, for example. Despite falling apart and being reclaimed by the forest, it is 100% safe because 0 people ride it, so 0 people get injured by it. Even if somebody tries to get injured, it doesn't count, because this was built by the Soviet Union, so any Russian who flings themselves at it counts as a tourist, and thus will not injure the safety rating, pun intended. This is allegedly a water slide. Where's all the water, you may ask? Well, this picture was taken during the Russian dry season. The design of this slide is such that when it snows, as it does a lot in Russia, the melting snow slides down, creating a river that a person can slide down for however long the snow lasts, which is typically a few months before it all melts. Back to American playgrounds, there are some concerns over trying to make them safe, which is clearly not working anyways. I mean, look at the ratings. The most reliable source in existence says that taking risks empowers children. If a child plays on a playground that is designed to be risk-free, they will have no sense of pride or accomplishment because even a baby could do it. That's how it's designed. Wikipedia roasts playground designers who make playgrounds in this manner, saying, "This overprotectiveness may protect the playground owner from lawsuits, but appears to result in a decreased sense of achievement and increased fears in children." Of course, in Russia, lawsuits are much less common and children are not allowed to have fears, besides the aforementioned German policeman, so overprotectiveness is a non-issue there. You may think that I support Russia and the Soviet Union's playground manufacturing process. However, this is false. Here we see a group of children playing on a playground. I apologize for the poor picture quality, but you'll see why it's so bad in a moment. If we zoom out a bit, we see a red schoolhouse and more children running about. You can see some red blobs near the top of the schoolhouse. What could those be? As it turns out, those are little squirts of communism. That's right, playgrounds are a gateway drug to communism. After hearing about their safety record, you were probably thinking, man, those commies sure know how to build a playground. And that's exactly what they want you to think. You may be currently thinking that this is a condemnation of the subtle Soviet propaganda that is trying to overthrow our democracy, but it's more than that. Think back to the beginning of the podcast. I said I was in my washing machine. I've got some nice Tide Pods going just to make sure that everything is sparkly clean. I can just taste the sanitation, and I feel cleaner already. That's right. I had Tide Pods in my wash. This entire podcast has been a Tide ad. That's about it. Thanks for watching.